Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or one of the 50% of the viewing audience who have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and most importantly, if you would like to join the show, simply click on the link in the info box below this video. With the page that you are currently watching on mute, you can join this debate to express your views on the shape of the Earth. However, there are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. However, you will be warmly welcome back on the next stream, so please do not try to rejoin using sock accounts. With that, I'm going to transition across to my photos so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and I would encourage anybody who is currently in the live stream to please also share the show. It's very important that you share, as this increases the live audience, which also in turn increases the diversity of the people on the panel. So with that, I'm going to say one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. I'm going to multitask off camera, as last time I tried it on camera I failed miserably, but I reckon I can share the show and say a few shout outs. Hopefully, Dawn Treader UK, you were indeed first. Good to have you here, my friend. Thanks for joining the live stream. Give my own show a like. Please do the same, Agent Detective. It says, oi oi agents, oi oi to you too, Agent Detective. Angel Raven 444. Nice snowman. It was a nice snowman, but then we had a heavy downpour and it actually fell over. So I may or may not repair the snowman. But we got our little video and we got our moments on the Kodak and all that. So we're happy. Multi-Tom-Tom says, share, share, share. My sentiments exactly, Multi-Tom-Tom. Share, share, share. It's exactly what I'm doing right now. Sharing on Facebook. Live now with an exclamation mark, as I am actually literally genuinely live now. Hoot Yube, very pleased to see you, my friend. Mars fake sub, good to see you. Let's bash that share button twice. Let's bosh this out on Twitter too. Live now. Lazy Boy Researcher, thank you for being here. 3D paper models rule. Is that so? Right, let's see if I can stick it in the old Skype-a-rooney and then I'm done sharing. And I'll do a few more shout-outs to those of you who have joined us in this live stream. Hopefully you're all clicking away. Sharing like mad too. Doubt it. Sometimes I say share, share, share in the chat and then the chat number goes down. I'm like, did any of you actually share this? I bet you didn't. Couple more shares and then I'll run through my links again. Encourage some of you in the live chat to potentially join. Out my Tim Osman picture on screen right now. Thank you, Tim Osman with a double S. Says welcome to Flat Earth UK. No, it doesn't. Well, I can't see, it's chopped off. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, of course. One last Skype group, right? I think that's it. No more sharing. Live stream open on my phone so I can see you guys in chat when it all goes a bit crazy. So, if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, which is literally about 50% of the people watching this stream, click subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you can keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are watching right now on mute, click that link to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are, however, a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. I'm going to go and do a few more shout-outs. Let's see who's in the chat. A truth shall set you free. There's perfect symbol, Agent Oakley. Okay, don't really know what you're talking about, but good for you. Hey, we've been joined by somebody. Hooray! It's Cat Earth.
I was going to say, don't get too excited.
Turn up the Hangout. 1 second, Cat Earth, sorry.
You know, like how you...
There you go. We can hear you now.
Sorry.
And we've also been joined by Channel Q. Good to have you here, Channel Q.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, you know how you like put all those movie things up, like your pictures? You should like put them all as like memes of yourself. You know, like all the memes people make about you. There's loads of them. I've seen them. You should have them. Like, that'd be really funny. Better than the film.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, you know, you got that mouse one or whatever it was. That's really funny.
Yeah, Tim Osman made that. I mean, if I can't be bothered compiling them for a second there, I thought you might actually make them. And I was really like, yeah, no way. We've been joined by Sleeping Warrior. Very pleased to have you here, Sleeping Warrior.
Hey up, pal. Nice to see you catching up because you were late with the first show.
Yeah, I was making a snowman. What do you want?
I know, and I gotta say, it looks like Eleanor is not ready for snow yet. She didn't look happy on them photos.
She was happy in the first 2 minutes, and then after she got soaking, wringing wet, because she doesn't know that that happens when you roll around in the snow. So after about 10 minutes, which is literally all it took to make the snowman, she was pretty sick of it. So when we were putting the finishing touches on and taking photos, she was pretty annoyed and wanted to go in.
Yeah, I think Nathan was more pleased about the snowman than Eleanor was.
Of course, I thought it was epic.
Really reliving a particular youth, were you?
Yeah, man, I love snowmen. I've made one every year. Every year there's snow.
I may as well shamelessly plug my Mark Wrecked video that I've just uploaded. If you want to see a good video of Mark wrecking or Mark Taylor wrecking, go on the my channel and just enjoy 5 minutes of Mark getting stuff wrong.
Okay, I'll definitely enjoy watching that. I'll watch that in a bit.
Did you not see the first show, Alex?
Not all of it. I just came at the end. I'm going to stay for long. I just wanted to tell Nathan about the... I think it'd be way better to have those pictures. But anyway, yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not planning on stopping long because normally what happens on the evening show, the Americans have roused by now and they all join.
Oh, they're ready. Just tell you science and facts, and logic.
Science and facts and but no evidence.
And lots of evidence. Just
no evidence.
Call it secret.
Lots of assertions. Lots of claims. Kev's late for work. Where is he? What's going on?
I think Kev's had enough. I think 3 is quite hard for him in a day. I think Nathan's defeated him with this 3-stream strategy.
I think he'll be here. Let's give it a few minutes.
Yeah, wait till like Riley keeps talking. You won't be able to resist.
Yeah, the minute he hears me, he'll be like, "Oh, I gotta go and get him. Gotta go and get him." And the minute he comes in, I'll just leave.
So what were we talking about in at the end of the last one? I can't remember.
I might be leaving now by all accounts. We're talking about ISS. We were talking about Telescopes that I don't have, but turns out I did.
Been joined by P Mars. Very pleased to have you here, P.
I have a video on my channel where I go after Mark Taylor too.
Is that so? What's wrong with Mark Taylor? Mark Taylor's basically a good guy, isn't he?
No, he's horrible in chat to everybody that I know.
Only in debating the shape of the Earth. I'm sure he's a very pleasant guy when you just talk about cars or something with him.
In chat, he's one of the most horrible people that I've ever come across.
Yeah, he likes to wind you up, but no, Mark's a really nice guy.
Wow.
Mark Taylor's cool.
He does have more stamina
You
than
owe
I do
him
for
money
bullying.
though, Riley, so that's probably why you
I do
have a
lose
bias.
interest after a while. It's hard.
Mark Taylor's really cool, dude. You just have a bias because you owe him money, Riley.
I think you and Mark Taylor could do like a radio show or something together.
What, like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher?
Just, I don't know, just something like, it would just be good. It's always my favourite shows when it's you and him.
He's actually a lot easier to deal with when he's on the panel than he is when he's in text.
That's from, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. He actually stays on topic when he comes on the panel.
Well, okay. I'd say he does a good job. I think you two have good banter. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, that's diplomatic, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it's good banter. In fact, I would say it's probably terrible banter.
That's entertaining for the rest of us.
It is entertaining, I've got to confess.
You sadistic person, you.
So, you want us to keep talking about the ISS? Or, I don't know. I don't know anything about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll try and get you onto a topic, right? So this time last year, pretty much exactly this time last year, they were telling the kids on the news, and I know this secondhand from my brother-in-law who had a 4-year-old, or obviously now 5, and she was being told, let's get this in the right order. The parents were being told by the news to go and tell their child to go and look for the ISS flyby, so that they could tell them it's Santa, so they could say it's Santa Claus flying over by.
Well, I think that if you believe that the ISS is what they tell us, my position is you might as well believe in Santa too, because there's no way that there's people up in that little thing.
Little thing?
Yeah, that tin of beans.
Tin of beans.
Big wings on it. Looks like a big plane.
Okay, so now prove that it's a tin of beans and prove that it's little.
Okay.
Prove that there are no people in it.
Well, looks little to me.
From where?
From where? From the observer. See, I've tried to measure the angular size of this, and it works out at like 3 arc seconds from a distance that I cannot calculate, so I cannot tell how big it actually is, and therefore I don't know how big it is. So the angular size argument is rife again, and it doesn't look like it's as far away. Because put it this way, if it's supposed to be 600 kilometers away in the thermosphere, my P900 can just about pick it up, and I haven't actually done it, but I've seen people doing it. And there's no way my P900 can see 600 kilometers on something the size of a small football field. It's the fuselage is the size of a double-decker bus. So the reality is that there's no way that my P900 is looking 600 kilometers. In the same way, there's no way my P900 will look at, say, Sirius, which is 4.7 light years away. It's ridiculous. So that in itself tells me that it's not as far away as what they're telling us it is. The fact that you can get it not necessarily in focus, but you can get it not far off this with a P900 tells me that it's probably around 50 miles away, nowhere near 600 kilometers.
Been joined by David and by P Mars. I think David was in first. How you doing, David? David.
Good evening. Good evening. How you doing?
Good to have you here.
I'm here.
We've also been joined by Curved
Yes, sir.
Water. How you doing, Curved Water?
All right, sorry.
Good to have you here.
Curved, you're late.
I'm drill for him.
Curved, you're late. That's 15 minutes off. You're getting clocked 15 minutes for that.
Curved isn't late.
It's all the same amount of pay.
He arrived exactly when he meant to.
I get
Prove me wrong.
I'm getting your clock card
Hey,
signed
Anthony?
off by 15 minutes.
Anthony,
Yes.
do you have any kind of math or anything to support your assertions about how far the ISS was due to your focal length and all that kind of nonsense?
Did you say map or maths?
M-A-T-H.
Math.
Throw an S in there if you're British.
Well, we wouldn't be able to do maths, would we? Because we don't know its actual size and we don't know its distance. We're told its actual size.
So what are you using to support what fell out of your backside into your mic there?
Nothing. I can only use the measured angle.
The measured angle.
Yeah, because we don't know its actual size because there's no evidence of showing it being built. We only know what we're told.
What is the measured angle?
What was it? Something like 3 arc seconds. It wasn't very big. But I can't see. I can't tell you this. I can't tell you the distance though. I mean, it's
How many
600.
times is that's not how you figure out the distance.
Well, if you know
You're
the
going
angle,
to kill yourself.
if you
Hang
can
on,
calculate the angular size, if you
hang
know,
hang on. Grim just came in. Nathan wants to introduce Grim.
Right,
Shut up the
thanks, Grim.
Trinity.
Yeah, pleased to have you here, Grim. How you doing?
Plasma, 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 plasma. Good, man. How about you?
Yeah, plasma, 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 plasma.
Hey.
Right there.
Oh, I saw the lovely snowman. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Hey, yeah. High five.
So what you have there is a pretty unreliable way of backing up anything that you said there, Anthony.
oh yes, I absolutely agree. It's completely unreliable.
How about
Oh,
if that
well-
thing's as big as the Hindenburg?
Why are you? I'm confused.
I know you're
Honestly
confused.
and I'm actually asking you, well, why are you talking about it as if it's like I don't know, evidence? I don't know how else to put it.
Let me help. Let me help you with why you're confused.
What point were you trying to make and why? That's the help I need.
Well, we're told that it's the size of a small football pitch. Okay, so on that size,
Hey, man, the Hindenburg was 803 feet long.
I think they tell us the ISS is 365 feet by 280 feet.
How many square miles is that?
but what I'm saying is it.
803 feet on the Hindenburg. So if they can float that up, how do we know they ain't floated something up there like that since then, huh?
Well, we've got altitude and
The Hindenburg
speed.
looked much larger in the sky.
Well, we don't have altitude, do we? We don't have any evidence that shows that it is.
Well, we really do. You don't understand it, and
I
I
called
don't know
them
that everybody
airships.
wants to sit here on the panel and go through everything required to try to back that up for you, Anthony. Maybe
Well, the only
in
two
another
things that we are
hangout
told-
we can talk about this.
The only two things that we are told, Curved, is that the size is apparently the size of a football pitch, and the distance is 600 kilometers. But neither of them can be asserted. We can't prove them are actually true.
Why do you keep referring to 600 kilometers? What does that represent?
That's where it's supposed to be in the thermosphere. It's supposed to be around about 600 kilometers high. Let me just double check that and make sure that I'm right.
Around 400 kilometers high. Directly overhead.
Oh, sorry. I stand corrected. 408 kilometers. So at 408 kilometers, the size of a football pitch is flying around the Earth.
The
Yeah, we can't.
altitude does vary.
The Hindenburg would carry 72 passengers.
Yeah, and it could go 1,000 miles high.
It went 85 miles an hour. It had two 1,200 horsepower engines in it.
Mm-hmm. Great
How
to have
come
you.
we haven't seen how come we haven't seen things sent up like that since all the way back then, huh?
That's okay, David. We weren't
About
talking
that?
about anything else. Feel free to just, talk about whatever.
We were talking about the ISS. It must be. I had never seen it myself, but whatever.
Yeah, the ISS is not a blimp, David. Thanks.
How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know?
Not from
We don't have any. See, the thing
Haven't
is,
you seen Jibby Jedi's video about how satellites are carried by balloons around the flat plane?
And that Hindenburg was huge.
Is that stuff even
Did you see the
operational
Hindenburg,
yet?
Dave? Were you alive to see the Hindenburg?
Oh, talking to me?
Username Dave.
Of course
Did you
not.
start the sentence with the name
Of
Dave?
course not. It was in Germany back when Hitler was running it.
No trick
You
questions.
didn't see
Don't
it?
try to pull, Dave.
No, I was just saying that if the ISS was as big as the Hindenburg, it's huge. That's all I was
Well,
saying.
the ISS isn't quite as big as you. I don't know. You said it was 785 feet. The ISS is not 700 feet.
Yeah, it was just where it held the gas, but I don't know all the whole story on it, but you tell
Hindenburg
me.
was a tragedy, right?
The Hindenburg was a tragedy. I don't know the whole history on it. I was just you were talking about the ISS being that large up there.
Well, the ISS is about 385 feet by 280 feet.
You say it's flying outside the atmosphere, huh?
Thermosphere could be considered, or would be considered atmosphere. It's a layer, but it's very sparse.
Just going back to the distance point. I would accept the distance if we could assert or prove the size of the thing that they tell us it is. From what I can work out, there's very little to no evidence of the construction of the ISS, and we have to rely on what they draw as the plans, and we have to trust.
I think Mr. B's got a video on his channel of them constructing the ISS from footage from Earth, like amateur astronomers. So there is actually footage, you can find it of them constructing it. Apparently.
Have you got a link for that by any chance?
Yeah, I should, because it's interesting, because I've never seen the video myself. He just told me about it. So it's a bit of a stupid one to bring up. But it's just interesting because apparently the footage is out there. Can't find
it. So when you make that version, it's like...
Well, I'll have a little look. I believe him, man. He knows a lot about
I believe. So I've got faith.
On this front, is Anthony questioning what that is up there in the sky?
I'm questioning its size because, I mean, there's very little evidence to show it being made, so that we don't know actually how big it really is. And I don't necessarily trust the size that they tell us it is, because
that's okay.
I'd like to see the empirical evidence that proves it.
That's the thing. I mean, you took a photograph of it, did you not?
I did, but that doesn't tell me anything other than the angle size.
No. We're not worried about that. We're just confirming that you took a photograph of the object that is up there in the sky.
Yes, sir.
To the trackers and the apps and all that. And
yeah, I did. That's right.
Okay. So, are you going to tell me that it's too small for your camera to pick it up?
No, I'm saying that I can't work out its distance because I don't know its actual size.
That's not how we're going to work out the distance.
That's the only way to work out the distance.
Oh, no. Contraire. We can triangulate it from the ground.
Wicked.
You need to know its actual size, Curved.
Hold on, don't tell him. Let's hear it.
I can't hear you, Nathan. When you first start to speak,
sorry. My apologies. So great, let's hear it. I'm stopping Anthony from interrupting you if you're about to tell us a different way of measuring its size or distance.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the distance. I don't care about the size. The distance, you can do that by triangulating it from the ground. Multiple observers at the same time. You take your.
How many miles is that off the ground?
That, you know what, David? It's what you find out by doing what I'm about to explain to you. You want me to tell you?
Go ahead.
Are you sure, David?
Sure. If there's something here that you're going to tell us something amazing, go ahead. I want to hear it.
All right. To get the distance to the ISS, each individual observer has got to load up miles and miles of fishing line, and they shoot it at the ISS.
Oh, God.
And they count how many miles of fishing line it takes to reach the ISS. Are you happy with that, David?
That's the most sensible thing you've ever suggested.
I just want to know when friction stops. How far up do you go before friction stops?
I just want to know how big a spool of fishing line we have to accomplish that.
If you go up, when does friction stop?
When you measure the angle of elevation for each observer to the you can take the distance to the point, or actually the distances apart from each observer, and those the angle of elevation and azimuth for each observer, and you can use that information to calculate the actual height of the ISS above the ground.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No,
prove
you can't.
Prove you cannot.
Yeah, you actually can.
It's your assertion now that you cannot prove that.
Just so that we're clear, just say that again.
I'll just say a quick hello to Mark Taylor before you do. Hi, how are you doing, Mark Taylor?
Yeah, I'm great, Nathan. Welcome to be back in your wonderful, wonderful place of abode.
Good to have you here.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
Yeah, all right, Kev. Can I just butt in really quickly? I know I'm rude and everyone. If you want me to shut up, I will. But what did you say a minute ago about measuring the ISS angular size, Riley?
Oh, wait. You talking to Riley?
Yeah, sorry, quickly, Kev. I just want to. Someone just mentioned something in
You
chat.
need to know the actual size of the ISS.
Well, you just said you measured it at 3 arc seconds, didn't you?
I was using it as an example, as a mere
So
example.
you did measure it at 3 arc seconds, though, yeah?
No, it was merely an example.
No, you said you measured it at 3 arc seconds.
Yeah.
So how could you measure it if you didn't know the distance, Riley?
It was merely how could I measure it?
So you was lying then?
No.
Why wouldn't it be public record? Why wouldn't it be public record?
Riley, you did.
No, the point I was making.
That was your comment. It's from Dawn Cheddar in UK. Thanks, Dawn. It was a great point, and I've just come in to remind people of Riley's out-and-out lying.
No, you've misunderstood, Mark, again.
He's been arguing for 5 days you couldn't measure it.
How much does it
No one
weigh?
misunderstood that, Riley. I asked you if you measured it, what was the size, and you said 3 arc seconds.
Yeah, but in the context of the angular size. The point I was
You
making
being a liar.
we don't know its actual
You spent
size.
5 days saying you can't tell the angular size about the distance, and you come in
Correct.
here and say the angular size is
Not what he
3 arc
did.
seconds.
Right, I'm going to turn you all down because I heard exactly what he did, and that's not what he did. So I'll speak over the top of all of you while I get across what he did say, because he qualified it by saying he measured the angle. He specifically said that.
Yeah, but what we were actually talking about was what we were just about to get to with curved, which is we don't know the actual size of the ISS.
No, actually, he said angular size, Nathan.
Yeah, he said he got it by measuring the size of the angle.
Yeah, the angular size, which for 5 days he said you couldn't measure unless
Mark,
you
you
had
don't
the
understand the
distance.
context.
So
You
how
missed
big
it.
is it?
Now
So what else
saying
is
that
me-
the
what
size
else
that
is
he
measured in
gave
arc
was
seconds,
just an
Riley?
example,
So how
not
big
an
is it?
Right,
What
stop.
else is measured in
Stop.
arc seconds,
Mark,
Riley?
the thing is, Mark, Curved already
Gents.
tried this and failed. You've come in and tried it in a more ham-handed way, and you're just going to fail.
I didn't
not
fail
sure.
anything.
Not at all, Nathan. He said he measured
What are
it
you
in 3 arc
talking about?
seconds.
He
What else
I don't
is
think Mark
measured in
heard it
arc
at all.
He
seconds and arc
qualified.
minutes?
Mark,
I don't
what you're
think
doing
he
is
said it at all.
You
taking
don't
what he
even
said.
understand it, Nathan. So
I
I
have
don't
to
know
turn
why
you
you're
down
butting
again.
again.
He's taking what he said out of context.
Well,
He
do you
qualified
understand
his
what arc
statement.
seconds and arc minutes are, Nathan?
He qualified his statement.
Earlier today, you said it comes around more than once a day.
So do you understand it, Nathan? Because you said the other day you didn't understand it, so I'm a bit mystified. Do you understand what arc seconds and arc minutes are now?
I understand, Mark, and I also understand that he
Okay,
qualified,
so what is it then? What is it,
he
Nathan? What's measured in
qualified
arc
his
seconds and arc
statement
minutes?
to you, Mark. You're not going to draw me into this. He
why'd
qualified
you
what he
butt in?
said,
I
and
didn't
what
draw
you're
you into it.
doing
You
is
stuck your
taking
big
him
mouth
out
in
of
it.
Mark, you are
context.
actually hijacking. Curve was about to make a point, and we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you let Curved ask.
Yeah, of course you want to move it on because you've been caught lying again, Anthony.
No,
Once
Mark, you
again.
just didn't understand the context.
I'm here, keep
No,
going.
I did. 3 arc. There's nothing
No,
else measured in arc seconds.
I don't think
and
you
arc
even heard
minutes.
it, Mark.
It's
I
only
think you
angular size that's measured like that, Riley.
I don't think
So
you've
once
heard it,
again,
Mark.
you've been proved to be a liar, Riley.
Well,
Once
we
again.
can go backwards and we can do the video and we can see what I actually said. But the context was about the size, not about the angle size, Mark. We were talking about the actual size at the time. Curved, you've got the mic.
Well, while Curved's working out his mic, you've been joined by Tony, unless he was giving me a gap, in which case, thank you, Curved. How you doing, Tony?
Hey, how you doing? Keep going, guys.
Good to have you here.
I was hearing everybody robot, so I was trying to work out my connection.
Oh, I like that fishing line experiment. I can't wait to start that thing. I heard about that. That's good.
Yeah, everybody
that's
super
what-
chat to buy this fishing line. We're gonna need a lot.
Yeah, we need a lot of fishing line. Hit that super chat.
Now I'm gonna hold you to that, Nathan. If anybody super chats, you're gonna buy fishing line with that.
Wicked. If we can get the funds to get me on the ISS so I can
It
dangle
doesn't
down
matter.
this
Y'all
piece of fishing
always
line.
go to the stars every time. You can't prove it on the ground. So you
Son
go
of a
ahead.
bitch. Yes,
Go ahead and
we
talk about my
do.
fishing string if you want to.
I'll tell you what, Nathan.
crazy.
You can
You
catch
should
the
show-
string on Earth.
Awesome. If I
Show
can
me-
catch that
show-
string
show
out the
me-
back
show
of the
me the
ISS.
curve.
But we're gonna need a lot
Nathan,
of fishing line.
We will need
Everybody
a lot
You're
of
wants
fishing line.
standing on it. You're standing on it, David.
Yeah,
You're
sure
standing
we
on the
are.
curve.
Sure, we are.
All right, so what did I fail to do, Nathan?
Well, I was asking about the I was saying that we
Are
don't
you
know the
Nathan?
actual size.
Riley, are you Nathan? I believe I asked Nathan a question. Why are you answering?
Sure, no problem. I'm more than happy to qualify what I said. So he
Yeah, what did I
qualified his
fail to do?
statement saying that he had measured what he is looking at and measured the angle and then gave it in an arc degree. You had then tried to tie that to him attributing a distance to it, which he did not do.
Correct.
So you failed.
No, I didn't.
Mark
No,
has
I
now
didn't.
done... Oh, I'm not allowed to get to the end of this. Mark has now done exactly the same thing and tried to hijack it and do it in a more bolsterous way, or bullshy way, and also will fail because he qualified his statement. He told you how he measured it. He measured the angle. Simple.
And can I just clarify for the two dimwits in the chat? I didn't actually do it with actual measurements. I was using it purely to illustrate the point that we don't know the angular size, the actual size to be able to compare. Therefore, we can't calculate the distance. So unless we know
he doesn't even know the angular size.
No, listen. Unless
he
we
gave
know
the answer in art seconds, yet he doesn't know
just
it.
listen, just listen. Unless we know the actual size, whatever size measurement we measure, we can't work out the distance because we don't, unless you can prove what the actual size of it is, how are we going to know the distance? So we have to rely on what it says on Google.
Riley, I told you in the beginning, we're not figuring out.
If you go to Wiki, it tells you all that, everything on there. It's smaller than the Hindenburg.
It does tell you everything on there, but how do we know that it's true? Because they put a lot of things on Wiki that are not necessarily true because we can't prove them.
It's got the atmospheric pressure here, so if you know how far up you got to go to get to that atmospheric pressure, then you'll know how high up in the air it is.
And sure, I told you what to do.
So you got to send a balloon up and find that atmospheric pressure is what I'd figure.
My point
you have a few people measuring it from the ground.
My point was, measuring it from the ground only helps if we know its actual size. And a lot of
people... can you tell us where you got the 3 art seconds from then?
Okay.
Yeah, that he pulled that out.
Yeah, because that's not Wiki. So can you walk us through your
3 arc seconds?
Can you walk us through your sums for that?
That you don't need to know. You don't know the distance. You don't need to know the actual size. You don't need to know the angular size to triangulate it by multiple observers simultaneously measuring it.
But that depends on whether we're on a ball or whether we're on a flat. The maths.
It doesn't make that much difference.
Well, it's the same.
The farther apart the observers are, the more of a difference there will be.
Yeah, but that's not going to give us the distance to the.
Both answers are going to give you over 200 miles up, flat or sphere.
How do you know that? Have you done the maths?
Because I've been through this before.
All right, common sense would tell you that you'd have to send a submarine.
I have no experience with this.
Hey, listen to me. Common sense.
Riley, I know what I'm talking about.
You'd have to send a submarine into space for it to be like you say it is.
I know what I'm talking about.
A submarine. How thick of steel? How thick of steel would you have to keep the pressure out of the non-space there? Huh? You'd have to send a dang submarine into space for it to work.
How much pressure is in it?
Man, do you know how much just the 3,000 pounds of pressure, whatever it is how thick of steel you have to have just to hold that?
How many psi is the ISS pressurized to?
That's what I'm saying to you. You have to know all that. If you knew what if they're telling you the right pressures for that atmospheric elevation,
David,
then
maybe
you'll know if it works or not.
You should know before you start making accusations based on it.
Well, you guys are the ones that don't know the answers to it, so I don't want to hear it.
The ISS is pressurized to about 14.7 psi, just like sea level.
That sounds about right.
How thick of steel would you have to have up in outer space for that thing to hold?
Oh, tin can aluminum.
It's not that much, David. It's not that
sure
much.
It didn't.
And just to clarify something, what do you think's happening when you take a picture of the ISS? Do you think your camera's looking 250 miles, Riley?
When I take a picture of the ISS, this is what I think we're looking at. I don't think we're looking at something tangible. I think we're looking at something that's projected or cast in some way. I don't think it's tangible.
I didn't ask that. I asked you what's happening when you I didn't ask that. I asked what's happening when you point your camera at. Do you think your camera is traveling 250 miles to take a picture of it?
Man, if they spend $1 billion, they're going to want something that'll land. You know that? You know what I'm talking about?
How it works, Wiley. Light hits the ISS. The light bounces off the ISS and comes down and hits the sensor in the camera.
Yeah, I understand that.
Your camera doesn't go 300 light years or 30 light years to see a star, Riley. The light comes to the camera.
What? I don't get what you're getting at. What's your point?
Well, you said earlier my camera can't see Well, your first claim was the ISS was 400 or 600 kilometres away, which it's not. But your camera don't see that far. The light comes to the camera, Riley.
Right. So are you on about stars here or the ISS?
No, I'm on about you're saying that your camera couldn't resolve something that far away, which is utter rubbish. The moon's further away than that, so it's got nothing to do with distance. It's the size of the object and how much light the object is reflecting. That's when that depends what you see. Doesn't matter the distance.
I don't agree with you. It does matter for the distance.
So the moon's closer than the ISS, Riley?
Well, I think Hank was quite correct when he applied the inverse square law to stars.
So the moon's closer than the ISS?
Well, the moon's a lot closer than what they tell us.
Well, is it closer than the ISS?
Seemingly not, no.
Well, how come we can see the moon then and not the ISS then? Why can't we see... Why ain't the moon invisible?
Because it's big enough for us to see and it's close enough.
So it's not distance then, it's the size. Exactly what I said. Thank you for clarifying my point once again.
Ding, ding, ding.
I have no idea what your point was.
Wow. And that's pretty much how it always ends up.
Yeah, he's
so how long is this thing supposed to stay up
because he's got you on your own.
Supposed to stay up?
He's got you on your own argument because you don't know that the moon is bigger, do you? How are you possible? How can you know that? You don't know how big it is.
Once again, Nathan, you're sticking your nose into something you really don't understand. He was saying that his camera couldn't see the ISS because it was too far away. My point is, it's got nothing to do with distance. It's how big the object is and how much light it's reflecting.
Mark, I think you've misunderstood me again. What I actually said was, I don't think it's that far away because my camera can resolve Blackpool Tower from 30 miles kind of thing. I know that when I'm looking at that thing in the sky, it's not as far away as they say. Otherwise, my camera would not pick it up. It's too small and too far away.
And how do you know that? That's what I've been asking you. How do you know that?
Because the camera has got zoom parameters that stop you from seeing beyond a certain point.
No, it hasn't.
How do you know it's not nuclear powered space station? How do you know that? It might be nuclear powered.
Hey, this is real important. Let me get this out. I do know this, that the size of the actual space station, when it's like directly overhead at like about 250 miles away, the angular size of it is like right around the limit of angular resolution of the human eye. That's with no optics. That's with no optics at 250 miles away.
Yeah, but Curve, that kind of supports my argument.
To go to 600 miles away with a P900 is cake.
Yeah, but hang on.
Your
both
argument
objects
is bunk, Riley. You can't support it.
No.
You're making dirty assertions. You don't know what you're talking about.
The moon and the ISS both appear within the resolution limits of the camera. That tells me they're not that far away because cameras can't see light years away. They're only a camera. They're not bionic. They're not Superman. They can only
see light years away, Riley. What are you talking about?
Model Mark.
Riley, the resolution of the camera is dependent upon the angular size of the object and the distance and the abilities of the camera.
But you were arguing before
years away, if the object is large enough and you have line of sight to it, you can see it with the camera.
Lumens, many lumens.
Crazy, Riley. You're not limited
to be honest,
by distance. You're limited by perspective and optics. If it's big enough for the to be resolved, the camera can do it.
Kev, you're breaking up quite badly, or unless it's me.
Flatnet is messing with my computer.
While you two sort out your computers, we've been joined by not a space agency. How you doing? Hello. Got a little doggy icon.
What's up?
You're pretty quiet. Let's turn you up. Try that again one more time. Not a space agency.
What's up?
Not sure that was a human voice there, Nath.
Weird.
Yeah, your mic is breaking up.
I think that could be curved.
No, that was the dog guy, not a space agency.
Yeah, the dog was up.
Drop and rejoin. Not a space agency. You've got a terrible connection.
All right.
It's the nut banger dog.
Kev, do you want to do a mic check?
The doxer dog. That's the dog that doxed Tim.
Why do you think you're seeing that? Why do you think you're seeing stars that are billions of light years away? If the light comes to your eye, Riley, why do you think that you see these stars? Do you think your eye's going all the way out to the star?
Because they're appearing within the resolution limits of the camera or the eye. They're obviously
but the
close.
light comes to the eye, Riley. When you see something across the road, your eye's not going across the road to see it.
Well, so you say, but the reality is,
what
Mark,
do you mean? So I say. Everyone says that people that design cameras say, right? Fine, but it's the way the eye works.
I say that there's limits to the camera. I say that the camera cannot see 360 million miles away for Jupiter.
It's not seeing 360 million miles away. How many more times the light comes to the sensor in the camera?
So you say.
If it's big enough and it's emitting enough light, there's no reason why you can't. What do you mean? What I say? I'm going to ignore everyone that's got anything to do with optics and believe you, am I? Oh,
yeah.
right.
So this is very simple, Anthony. Very simple. And you don't get it.
I'm listening. Go on.
You don't get it. That's it.
Oh.
Hey, hold on.
We've been joined by Pure Anarchy. Thanks, Curved. How you doing, Pure Anarchy? Check. 1, 2. He scrambles for the mute button. Maybe not. We'll come back to we'll come back to Pure Anarchy.
Remember, there's a Pure Anarchy.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
I was picking something up.
Good to have you here.
You had us scared because this Pure Anarchy sniper has come in here before and sniped everyone.
Yeah, I haven't sniped anybody.
Yeah, we didn't think it was you.
Yeah,
and happy birthday as well. It's his birthday. I don't know if you want me to tell you that. It's his birthday. It's his happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Pure Anarchy.
Spam birthday cakes in the chat.
Yeah, happy birthday, Pure.
Traditionally, you should bring us a cake on your birthday.
Oh, do you understand now, Riley?
I haven't got a clue, Mark.
So you haven't got a clue. You still think your eye's going all the way out to the moon to see it?
To focus on it, absolutely, it has to.
What your eye does? Your eye goes all the way to the moon.
I have to focus on it, yeah.
The steel plate.
Why do they say that it's light years, like as if light is traveling for some amount of time?
Hold on, I want to go back to the ISS real quick. I just looked up the ISS. It's 14 pounds per square inch. So how thick of steel do you have to have at 14 pounds per square inch on that thing? It's
to be fair, though, David, to be fair, 14 psi is not a lot of pressure.
No, I said 14. It's 15 pounds per square inch.
Yeah, it's not
on the outside of the steel.
That's atmospheric pressure at sea level, David.
David, that's not a lot of pressure.
That's what the ISS is. That's where it's at now.
David, you know, if you get an inner tube for a push bike that your kid drives or kid rides, they're generally around about 15 psi.
The atmospheric pressure that it's floating in is 14.
No, David.
14 pounds per square inch.
David. David.
Yes, that's what it says here.
The atmospheric pressure it's floating in is none. It's in orbit for one, not floating.
No,
the pressure is inside.
Exactly.
The ISS.
Exactly.
There's no pressure outside the ISS.
I understand that. I agree with you on that. It would be on the inside that you'd have to take the pressure test. Exactly.
Yeah, but it's one.
So how thick would the steel have to be to hold out 15 pounds per square inch of pressure from the outside?
Well,
Anthony just told you that an inner tube for a bicycle could do it.
Why would that matter,
dude?
15 pounds per square inch is pretty strong, man.
No, it's not, David.
No, it's not, because a child's bicycle is at that. How thick is an inner tube?
So we just figured it's not going into zero atmosphere then. How thick is a child's bicycle inner tube that holds the same amount of pressure?
Allow me, David. Let me explain this one to you. The vacuum of space is basically trying to suck the ISS. It's trying to pull it apart from the outside.
Vacuum of space doesn't suck.
Wrong.
Doesn't suck. Vacuum doesn't mean suck. It means empty space.
That's why we don't allow you, Riley.
Is there anything you know,
Riley?
Is there absolutely anything?
Riley, stop conflating.
Do you even know about the kind of do you vacuum clean your home with a vacuum? Is not the same thing.
It wouldn't matter if it wouldn't matter if you're in outer space or underwater. It would be the same. Like the pressure from the water would be the same as the pressure from the atmosphere.
Okay, vacuum does not exert a force.
Yeah. So, David actually answered the question. How thick is a sickle inner tube that holds the same amount of psi?
So we're saying it's more like the. So we're saying it's more like the Hindenburg. So it's floating up there, huh?
No, we're not. You're saying that.
No.
God knows why.
Stop conflating different arguments.
No, that's
what question. Answer the question. How thick is a inner tube? How thick is an inner tube?
And also, David,
it's made out of rubber, man. It's made out of rubber. You can't. Those people up there aren't walking around in a rubber balloon, man.
Hey, David, you were able to look up.
They have to be inside of steel. They have to be inside of steel, and it's got to be pressurized. We're 15 pounds per square inch. That's pretty. That's pretty hard, man.
All right, we got that.
No, it's not.
So now, can I ask you? You were able to look up the pressure, which confirmed what I already told you. Now, are you capable of Googling and finding out the answer that you wanted? How thick does it have to be to hold that much pressure? Can you do that?
I'd figure it'd have to be an inch.
Well, while David Googles that, I'm going to introduce Brenda. So, Brenda, how are you doing? Good to have you here.
Good afternoon or evening.
Good evening to you too.
Hi, Brenda.
Right.
Hello.
Hey. Yep. So I'm not asking what you figured, David. I'm asking you if you're capable of Googling the answer to your own question.
Okay, so we figure
you were
out
able to Google and find out what I had already told you.
Now we can figure out how much it weighs. Okay, now that we know what the pressure is, we can figure out how much it weighs because the steel's going to have to be that thick.
And the weight is important. Yeah. Why?
But a rubber tire, is so much stronger than steel.
And the weight is important. Why?
It's per square inch, man.
And the weight is important
because you say
what do you think?
You say it's floating in a vacuum. That's why.
No, we say it is in orbit, David.
It's in
orbit. And there's no point talking to you about it any further because it's already beyond you.
What is the 100 psi on your truck tires? What is that? What does PSI stand for there?
It's 110 on a truck tire.
What does PSI stand for? What does PSI?
What does PSI stand for?
Pounds per square inch.
So exactly. Why is it different tires than what it would be for anything else?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's made out of aluminum or what it's made out of. It has weight.
Weight is not an issue, David.
So why is a rubber tire that has 15 psi, which matches what is inside the ISS?
It's like an airplane pilot will tell you: the higher you go, the better the fuel economy. The higher you go up, right? That's why they like those planes to fly real high.
David.
Because they get better fuel mileage up that high. Because the air thins out. So the air thins out when you go up there.
You conflated that it was different. A rubber that holds 15 psi on a children's bike, a mountain bike for adults, anything like that. It was different because it was rubber and steel or another alloy. What does it matter?
It's got to be an alloy. It's got to be an alloy to hold that kind of pressure.
It was pounds per square inch. What difference does it make?
How many pounds per square inch do you think shaking up a soda can is?
I'm not sure about that. That's why I'm just throwing in my 2 cents here and debating this thing because y'all don't even know. Really? I'm telling you things that you don't know.
It's really not worth
2 cents. Ain't worth 2 cents, David.
You said
it's something you got to consider when you're looking at things.
Maybe.
David, you said it was different. It was pounds per square inch. You really enforced that. You really tried to drive that in. It doesn't matter.
15 pounds. Whoever's walking around inside that thing on the out, it's the steel that's holding the cage that they're walking around in is 15 pounds per square inch.
No, David.
Okay.
No.
That's what it says.
Does not weigh. Nothing there weighs 15 pounds per square inch.
Whatever the metal that they're using,
15 pounds per
will
square
have to be gauged to hold that pressure.
Force.
Exactly.
The
So it has to be
force
gauged.
exerted by the pressure.
It'll have to be a half-inch, quarter-inch, whatever it is.
It is not a
Aluminum.
measure of weight, David.
Hey,
Stop
a
it.
can of Pepsi holds 30 pounds per square inch, roughly.
Oh, I knew that. I should have said so.
I hope that helps.
Can I ask a quick
it takes
question?
about-
Sorry to.
It is
It
not
takes
weight.
about- it takes
And
about
weight
20
is irrelevant to this.
It
what's
takes
the
about
differ-
20 cans for a pound.
Sorry,
for a
can
pound
I
of
just ask a
cans,
quick question?
Okay.
What's the differential
No,
then?
you can hold 30 pounds per square inch inside of a can of Pepsi.
What's
The
the
structural
differential though
integrity of a
with
can of
atmospheric
Pepsi
pressure?
can hold 30 pounds per square inch.
What's atmospheric pressure? Because obviously,
integral and needed to be.
Okay, so how many
Hard
Pepsi
to
cans?
hear you,
How
Nathan.
many Pepsi
They
cans
don't
are
even realize
is
you're talking,
ISS
man.
made out of? Huh? How many Pepsi cans?
I rest my case.
I know. How many Pepsi
But
cans
we'll
is
be
made
talking
out
about
of?
Pepsi cans with no Pepsi inside of them.
How many Pepsi cans?
He doesn't
No,
know
Dave.
what pounds. He doesn't
Dave.
know what pounds per square
We
inch.
would be
means.
talking about
You
Pepsi
got- you
cans
got-
with no Pepsi inside of them.
You got that's
He
how much.
doesn't
How
know
many
what
Pepsi
pounds per
cans?
square
Does
inch.
All I wanted was a Pepsi.
He does. All you wanted
Bitch,
was a
you wanna give me
Pepsi.
one?
That's
Oh,
a great
sorry.
song. I like that.
How many
song.
how many pounds of Pepsi cans does the ISS weigh?
What does that have to do with anything?
This has nothing to do with weight, David.
He doesn't
Nothing
understand
to do
what
with weight.
pounds per square inch means. He
Everything
doesn't
has to
even
do
know
with
what
weight,
it
man.
I told him
means.
that.
Until you go to
I've told him what it means.
zero
But he
atmosphere,
doesn't
and you're
Okay, well,
still
how much does one empty Pepsi can weigh?
if you're still inside
How much
this
does one-
atmosphere, you're still
one
having to use
empty
some
Pepsi
type of
can
power
weigh?
to power that
David,
thing. Okay,
But
that's
I
why
wanted you to tell me how much does one
Okay.
empty Pepsi can weigh?
it takes 20 of them to make a pound.
How many? No, but how many does one weigh?
I guess it's like 1
Empty,
ounce
not
each.
full,
They're 1 ounce.
empty. It has
1
to be
ounce
empty.
each. They're about an ounce each.
Empty. No soda in
Six-
empty.
It takes 16. There's 16 ounces in a pound, and it's about a pound. 16 cans for a pound. So it's
Okay,
about
so
an ounce
that
a pound.
empty can that weighs
Is an ounce.
that
Weighs
empty
1
can
ounce.
that weighs 1 ounce can hold 30 psi.
Okay, so how many Pepsi cans is the ISS made out of?
It isn't made out of Pepsi cans.
Yeah.
It's made out of bottle caps.
It's got to be. It's got.
are you
It's
trying
got to
to
be
conflate
made out of
the-
aluminum. That's the only thing we have that's that light on this earth is aluminum.
Well, it's
It
probably
can
made
be
out
as
of.
heavy as it needs to be, David.
It's most likely made out of aircraft grade aluminum. Probably, also fiber. It's
It
structurally
could be made out of
reinforced
granite.
and all.
It could be made out of granite. It doesn't matter. It could have
Right,
1
guys,
foot thick walls
guys.
of granite.
When
Weight
you-
is
can I
not
just-
an issue.
Can I just step in a sec?
That's too abstract for him.
Can I just step in a sec?
I got one more thing to say.
David,
Why?
David,
So you can tell us vacuums suck again?
David, just hang on a sec. Let me just step in a sec.
Go ahead.
I was interested with David's comment about 14 psi, and I said that it's not the pressure inside the ISS that's the issue. It's the vacuum outside that wants to pull it apart that's the issue. And everybody laughed at me.
Yeah,
And I
because
thought-
you're an idiot.
Yeah, because the vacuum doesn't suck.
When you go into zero gravity and you go out of this atmosphere, then it'll be pushing on the outside. When you're inside this atmosphere, it's going to
No.
push from the inside. So it's going to be an opposite effect on both sides. Okay.
Hey, Riley.
No.
Why
The
is it
backwards
that
man, the backwards man, the backwards man, the backwards man.
I just want to
got it.
note.
Backwards
I just
man.
want to note that this is part of Nathan's brilliant plan to make round earthers look bad.
If,
All right,
if
now
that
here's
can
the logic
suck, how come
process
when we
for you,
watch
Riley.
movies about space and astronauts get
Riley.
like outside of spacecraft,
I've never
they're
studied
not
this.
ripped apart by this sucking vacuum?
I've never
Okay, here you
studied
go.
this before. I just looked it up.
Good. Riley, listen. Why does the
Because it doesn't
sucking
suck.
force of the vacuum equal the force that it's pressurized inside the ISS in the container?
Why
is the sucking force equal to the pressure from inside?
It's not. It's not. This is why I was right, David.
Okay, if you have Riley, if the ISS were pressurized to 1 psi, if an item in a vacuum chamber were pressurized to 1 psi, why does it not? Does the vacuum not tear it apart until you or if that's all it is? And the material can withstand it, the vacuum does not tear it apart. It would have to be more highly pressurized in order for like a balloon or something to explode when you evacuate the chamber. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I see what you're getting at, but what I mean, we all know.
Yeah, the vacuum doesn't suck it apart. It's the pressure inside.
Here's what the new module.
Right, stop. Hang on. Let me just make my point.
Absolutely.
Right.
I just made the point.
No, you made a point. You made a point. Let me counter. Right.
Our technology is similar to steel belt protection in tires. Interesting.
Why do you think that a vacuum doesn't suck?
Because it doesn't. Because a vacuum is just synonymous with empty space.
And so I just showed you how you could prove it to yourself with a little balloon, and by inflating the balloon at various pressures, you can evacuate it to the same vacuum level. But the balloon won't pop.
And because the vacuum sucked whenever you saw a space movie with an astronaut that gets detached from its ship, they don't get ripped apart by some sucking vacuum. They float away.
When you float a balloon up, doesn't the balloon itself gets smaller the higher it goes, right? From the pressure
guys,
up on it when it goes up, right?
Stop, guys, stop.
Riley, I'll see you at Omrix or something, and we can talk about it there. We're not going to be able to get through it here. We can't get.
Let's just try. Let's give it one try because I've got it on the screen now. Just for a couple of minutes. Let me and Curved talk. Curved, if a vacuum's not sucking, talk me through what's happening here while the tanker's getting they're creating a tanker vacuum, and they're putting the vacuum up and up and up and up and up. So the vacuum strength is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and then eventually the sucking effect squashes or implodes the tanker. So talk to me about how this is not. See, it's nearly there. How is a vacuum not?
I can tell you.
Yeah, go on.
It's not the vacuum sucking the tank in. It's the exterior pressure. It's the atmospheric pressure.
That's
yes,
wrong.
when there is not enough pressure inside to offset.
We missed it.
It's the rush of air. It's the rush of air, rushing in to replace the empty space.
What?
So you're telling me that
what happened here?
They didn't open it. Oh, they didn't open it. Oh, okay.
No, isn't that what would happen to the ISS if you open the door? Isn't that what would happen?
Yeah, this got crushed under vacuum, right?
They sucked all the air out of it.
Isn't that what would happen?
With the air pressure all around it, crushed it. The air pressure all around.
So it's got to have it's got to have steel that'll hold up to 15 pounds per square inch.
Hang on, we're not measuring air pressure. We're measuring vacuum inside the tanker. So it's not the air pressure squashing it from the outside. It's imploding from the inside.
It depends on how thick the steel is. Okay, it's how much pressure it'll take.
Right.
Anthony,
so hang on.
Anthony, listen. Evacuate a little tank like that inside of a vacuum chamber.
It's half-inch steel right
with
there.
With no pressure outside of it. Evacuate a can like that in a vacuum chamber.
Well,
with no pressure outside the can is not going to crush because you vacuumed it.
It's a common kind of demonstration.
We are coming up on 1 hour of this live stream, so we have approximately 1 hour to go. If you are new to this channel, or you are one of the 50% of the people watching this that have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link to Super Chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And most importantly, if you would like to join the panel, currently it's a full house, but when someone drops, simply click on the link in the info box below this video. Be sure to mute the page you are currently watching before you click on that link. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media. And one more time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
It's going to be pressure from the outside the higher you go up.
It's not the strength of the vacuum.
It's
not the vacuum that does it.
It's going to flip over, man.
It is the vacuum that does it. That's the problem. Your position, or everybody's position, was that the vacuum doesn't do anything because
what vacuum is that train car in?
The vacuum's inside.
That's what would happen supposedly if you go into outer space.
So now you're contradicting.
He's doing this backwards so that he can try to win his point. He won't do it with the balloon in a bell jar like I'm telling him.
What I'm doing is I'm looking at David's claim about the 14 psi, and I thought, is he right in a vacuum? In the real world, 14 psi is nothing, but is he right in a vacuum? So I went.
That train isn't in a vacuum.
No, but the ISS is in a vacuum in space. So I went
it's
to
actually
differential.
15.
So what would happen if we sucked all the air out of the ISS? Would it crumple like that train?
So I put some figures in based on the ISS into a pressure calculator, a differential pressure calculator. So if we're going to go with the PSI of inside the ISS at 14, and then the pipe diameter in this case would be the ISS. So if we said, say, 10 feet, so 100 and the units that are in measurement here, it gives you an example. And based on the example it gave, I just transposed some of the details in. The fluid density of the air that we breathe got put in, and then the flow rate was 1. That number is huge.
Physics or mathematics.
Can I interject? Because Lewis is making a claim that your video, in that video, that the train car was damaged in order to cause it to implode. You can't get into the hangout, though. I think it's full.
Come on, man. Let him finish over here.
My point was
finished.
I don't know too much about the differential pressure, but what I do know is that David made the point 14 psi in a vacuum may not be the same as what 14 psi does on our not in our environment.
That is correct.
But here's the thing. The vacuum of space is 0 psi. There is no additional force on it.
Can you
it's
prove
0.
that? Can you prove that?
Yeah, but the differential pressure.
The ISS isn't riding in 0. The ISS isn't riding in 0 gravity.
Listen.
I didn't say 0 gravity. I said 0 psi. The vacuum of space,
which is 0 gravity. There's the same thing, right?
It's
0 psi is 0 gravity. Be the same thing. 0, right?
No, it's not. No.
Listen. The ISS has to be strong enough to contain the 14.7 psi inside of it on its own without the assistance of the atmosphere outside like it would at sea level. That is what you have to concern yourself with. That's what you have to consider. But there's no force of the vacuum. I've tried to explain honestly to you.
Can you prove there's no force of the vacuum?
I just told you how to do it.
No, can you prove it?
Now, and how can I prove it? I don't know. I don't have a bell jar. I know that a balloon.
But the problem is though. The problem is that we do have a tanker.
Inflated. If the balloon is strong enough to hold the minuscule psi inside the balloon, you can evacuate the bell jar that the balloon is in, and the balloon will not pop. It will not be popped by the force of the vacuum around it, Riley.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've got evidence that suggests that a force will.
No. You're using something that's not making your point, and there's other factors involved here, apparently.
Like what other factors?
Like what Lewis was saying about the thing was damaged to cause it to fall or something. But the only thing is,
when do you flip to 0?
Riley, you are doing this, but this is the exact opposite of the ISS.
It is the exact opposite. You're right. I agree. But what David's point is that if there is a vacuum outside,
my experiment, my suggestion, is more analogous. With the balloon at low psi in a bell jar, you evacuate the chamber. Why does the vacuum not rip the balloon apart?
Because it isn't enough of a vacuum. It's not strong enough. The value you said it.
Why not?
How come whenever you watch movies about space and they show an astronaut get detached from its ship, is the astronaut ripped from limb?
Riley just made a statement. The vacuum is not strong enough.
Yeah.
How do you know that, Riley?
Because it's only a balloon and it hasn't pulled it apart.
How do you calculate the strength of the vacuum?
You measure the strength of the vacuum with a vac meter.
Riley, that's not the strength of the vacuum.
Torque. You measure the strength of the vacuum in torque.
Riley, how low do you think that vacuum chamber can get? Pretty damn low.
Yeah, but it hasn't been low enough
to pull the balloon asserted that the vacuum is not strong. What do you need? Do you need more vacuum? Do you need a larger vacuum?
The balloon's flexible as well.
If you double the size of the vacuum, do you get double the imaginary force of your vacuum?
The imaginary force. Right, hang on. This is where I'm going to call you out on this claim that the vacuum doesn't exert a sucking force, because I don't believe you based on this evidence here. It does clearly look like it has a sucking force. So that would mean David has got a valid point on the 14 psi, because it would want to pull that apart.
What was the psi?
14 psi. And when I've put some math
in, what was the psi in that tank when it collapsed?
No, that's not relevant.
It's
the outside pressure. It's atmospheric pressure that's pressing on the vacuum. So it's the pressure of the atmosphere. So what's atmospheric pressure versus that vacuum?
I went to KPA to PSI pressure converter. That's what I did when I figured it out.
How can nothing exert a force on anything?
Well, it's the opposite way round. So there's 14. Let's just answer you, Brenda. So it's the force of the atmosphere, which is at, let's say it's 10 psi, just for the sake of argument.
Riley's claim is that vacuums can exert a force.
Yeah.
I'm asking how.
No. Let's get this clear. Let's get this clear. No. Let's get this clear. Curved claims that a vacuum is not a sucking force, and I've just shown evidence that indicates that it is. So I want Curved to show how it's not.
That's my question. How can nothing exert a force?
It's not nothing, though, is it?
You said that there's a sucking force. That's what.
It's because it's still inside our atmosphere. That's why. That's why it has to have
force.
That's why it has to have a PSI. That's why it has to have
nothing exert a force.
David's
answering you. It's not out in nothing. It's not out in nothing.
It is. That's what a vacuum is.
No, David's answering you, but you just don't want to have it, Brenda. So
the ISS is inside of our atmosphere. Okay.
This is the key point, and everyone's talking all at once. So this is the key point. So David's point is that there's 14 psi of pressure working against the vacuum of space, which is no resistance, as opposed to on the ground, where you obviously have a pressure differential with the atmospheric pressure. So is 14 psi a huge amount versus a vacuum or not? And that's what Anthony's trying to establish, or was.
Anthony, can you play that video from the start?
I'm replying to the claim that nothing can exert a force.
Yeah, Anthony's being dishonest again. If you play the video from the start.
Yeah, Anthony already knows that 15 psi isn't strong because he was arguing with Dave that a bike tire can handle it.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I just interrupt, please? Can you play the video from the start, Anthony, and show where they drop a great big concrete block on it?
I'm
being dishonest.
Before we do this,
I don't know how many Pepsi cans ISS weighs.
Guys, stop a sec.
Play the video from the start, Anthony, where they drop a great big concrete block on the tanker.
Right.
When right at the beginning they tried to implode the tanker. They tried to implode it with no damage and nothing happens. So then they get a crane and they drop a great big concrete block on it, Anthony.
Mark,
stop being dishonest.
Right, so let's define what dishonest means in this context, right?
You're implying that tanker was fully the structure was just a normal tanker when it wasn't. Rewind the tape to the beginning where
the video's more damaged just in case it falls over or something.
That's why they're doing the tanker fully like a normal tanker.
Mark, I want specifically to know what the dishonesty on my part is. Can you tell everybody?
Because you're implying that tanker's got full structure.
Once again, Riley is a liar.
Yeah. Once again, Riley lying again. Play the video from the start.
He's not just pretending to be stupid. He's lying.
Right, so
video from the start,
knockout.
Let's clear it up for the audience. What is the assertion that I'm dishonest? What specifically am I being dishonest about?
Because you made out that the only reason that tanker imploded because the vacuum was sucking the tanker in, making out that the tanker.
They don't have enough pressure.
Was a normal tanker.
Information that the tanker was damaged.
They had to damage it to get it to do that. That was why they did it.
I think they're trying to show that it's strong enough to resist a concrete block. I don't.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Play it at the beginning when they tried to implode the tanker.
They're showing what would happen if it damaged when it got in a wreck. Okay, that's what they're doing it for, to show if it went. What would happen when it wrecked.
Over me because one of your clients or friends is being dishonest.
How am I being dishonest, Mark? What? Be specific. What dishonesty am I doing?
To the beginning when they try and implode it, when nothing happens.
I'm at that point, but I want to know specifically what my dishonesty is.
Because you're misleading people. You're making out that the tanker had full structural value, which it didn't.
No, I'm not
misleading anyone.
I'm not misleading anybody, Mark. I'm just you saw what I did. I said tanker implosion.
You did. You're being dishonest, Riley.
So basically, what you're saying is that I knew in advance that this was deliberately damaged, and you think that's dishonest.
Yes, that's what happened to the ISS.
Yes.
If there was a hole in that 15 pound per square inch.
Why didn't you make any mention of the tanker being
exterior of that
damaged?
That's what happened.
Because I didn't know, Mark. And let's just see whether it.
Shut up.
Well, hang on. Wait. Mark, shut up. Mark, shut up. Let's see whether it was damaged. Or let's see whether it.
We already knocked him out, man.
David, shut up. Let's see if it was deliberately damaged or where they tested its strength. So let's just see what they
tell you it was deliberately damaged, Riley. You're such a liar, man.
Right. Firstly,
once again, Riley proved that he's dishonest as dishonest can be. just to win an argument.
Do you realize what pressure it would take to make that thing collapse on itself like that without being damaged?
David, wait.
Do you have any idea? Half-inch steel.
Wait. Even if we can ascertain that this was damaged rather than a test of strength, does that mean that I knew about it, Mark? Because the onus is on you to prove it.
What? So you've presented evidence that you haven't even watched then?
Correct.
Oh my God, Anthony, let's talk about.
So you presented
evidence. Made here is the ISS would do that same thing if there was.
I know full well that you've watched it. You watched the beginning. You knew what was happening, and you deliberately took that bit of video.
Can you prove that, Mark? Can you prove that I knew that I did that?
Yes, because you've got dishonesty in your veins, Anthony. We don't have to prove it. Everyone knows how dishonest you are.
You can't. That's right. Hit by space debris, huh? And
the fact you didn't mention anything about it, Riley.
By space debris, that's what they do while they were inside of it.
Once again, Riley proved to be dishonest.
I don't see that it makes any difference. So in either regard, I'm going to drop this in either way, that I don't see, damaged or otherwise, that doesn't affect what it was, which is a demonstration that atmospheric pressure can crush things. So damaged or otherwise, if they had to induce that, it doesn't change that they sucked the air out, inducing a vacuum, and then it got crushed. So what?
Thank you.
Yeah, so what? Who cares about the truth? Who cares
about the truth, Nathan?
Whatever. So what? It happened. I don't care what the details
Once again,
Nathan
proved.
Nobody's saying we don't care about the details. We've got the details, and we've now established that it was pre-damaged to cause that effect. I mean, if you haven't had that demonstrated to you in science class, which I have, where they took a completely, literally prepped bottle that they were going to suck the air out to demonstrate the effect of atmospheric pressure crushing something, it doesn't matter if it's prepped to do it or not. We saw the effects of it, and that's adequate for the demonstration that atmospheric pressure can crush things.
That's what we're talking about. So check it out. There's the material that it is.
No one's denying that.
Look like metal
no
at all,
one's denying that. But the fact
so
that
it's really relevant whether or not the tanker is damaged. It's very relevant.
Presenting that evidence without telling us that he was damaged in the first place.
Without the damage, we would not have
just being dishonest to win his argument.
He said already, Mark, about 2 or 3 times that he didn't know, and now we've established it, and you're continually labouring that point. Thank you for letting us know. It was pre-damaged so that effect could be caused. Thanks for letting us know, Mark. Nice to be informed.
So you're going to admit that he was dishonest then? No.
Well, Riley could have informed us.
Stop. Let me address that. I can confirm that they did damage it on purpose and put a dimple in it. However, I did not know that.
They dropped a concrete block with a crane in it. Don't make out again, Riley.
Right, Mark, shut up. They did drop it to cause damage because they said the word dimple in the thing, and it was the dimple that would cause it to implode because it makes a weakness in it. However, I did not know about it, and Mark cannot prove I did. So I wasn't dishonest. Mark,
yes, you was. You dishonest
if you want to, Riley, but
unless you can prove, and the onus is on you.
I wasn't dishonest. I'm just an idiot.
Unless you can prove that I was dishonest, Mark, you've got to retract.
Yes, you was dishonest, Wiley, presenting evidence that you had no idea what it was.
Right, so if I had no idea, that means I couldn't have been dishonest then.
Well, you was dishonest because you presented it as something that it clearly wasn't.
That you knew. Something that you knew what it was. You presented it as if you knew what it was.
So you're dishonest, whatever way you put it up, Riley, and we know you're dishonest.
The worst it could have been was
and we know you've watched the video because you went quiet for a couple of minutes to get the end of the video.
Yeah,
so you clearly watched the video, Riley, but you picked the bit that you wanted to further your argument.
That doesn't mean I saw that
it was queued up at the part that he wanted us to see.
That does not mean I saw that it was damaged on purpose.
You was just hoping no one watched the video,
we figured out the ISS is still inside our atmosphere. We did figure that out, though, didn't we?
But it doesn't make any difference, and I'm going to reiterate this. It's a demonstration that the pressure can cause something that's got a vacuum to crush. And we're having the reverse argument with the ISS, that the pressure inside the ISS, acting against a vacuum on the outside, could damage it or not. And it doesn't change that demonstration's quality. That demonstration adequately demonstrated that, regardless of whether it was prepped to do it or not. And it doesn't demonstrate dishonesty at all.
It would not have collapsed had it not been damaged, so it does change the outcome.
Doesn't make any difference. It shows that atmospheric pressure can demonstrate things. If they'd prefabricated it to be crushed, it wouldn't make any difference.
Whether or not the tanker collapsed or did not collapse.
If space junk hit the ISS, that's what it would do, right?
All right, can I get in a relevant question here, please?
Go ahead, Curved. You go ahead.
I just want to answer that question real
David,
quick.
let's bring some normality back to it. Curved, please go ahead.
All right, this is the question. Does the does it need to be engineered to withstand the vacuum of the space around it, or does it need to be engineered to withstand the amount of pressure within it?
It needs to be engineered to withstand the vacuum around it.
Pressure inside of it.
So you think that
until you get out of outer space, and then it would be just the opposite. Okay?
Thank you, Dave. So you think the same damage, the vacuum of space would rip the ISS apart the same, whether it were pressurized to 1 psi, 10 psi, 30 psi, 100 psi.
You've got to fight the vacuum of space.
It's the vacuum of space that makes the difference.
Yes. Nathan, do you want to just share my screen and let me show another example of something imploding? Let me know when it's shared.
Yeah, man.
Well, any evidence you present now can be like, you know, dismissed really, because you proved your dishonesty.
Oh, come on, Mark.
So there's a plastic tube inside a vacuum chamber that literally implodes because of the vacuum. So when
like it imploded to me, it looked like the top came off of it.
A vacuum, that's not true, is it? Watch.
Is it?
That's what I saw.
This better be a vacuum and not a pressurized test.
What happens with a pill container in a vacuum chamber? Will it explode?
I did not see that tube crush in on itself. I saw the top get yanked out of it.
Yeah, that's all I saw, the top come off of it.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
That's not an implosion.
So it's not an implosion then, is it?
Why
so then what are you doing? You're just Googling? Are you just Googling like things that are implode under pressure and you're getting ripped off by these crappy videos?
What it means. What it means is
that's really what you're doing. It really looks like you're just Googling what you want to Google. You're putting videos in here. And I'm not really helping you out. I think this is your opportunity to lead gracefully. Anthony.
Me and Riley have talked y'all out again. Go, Riley, get on them.
Yeah, go, Riley. Go live some more, Riley.
It means that David's 14 PSI comment is right.
We need some more lives, man.
See that tube implode on itself too, not squishing onto itself.
Riley, no, you've already disagreed with David's PSI comment. You've said that the vacuum of space is what causes it to come apart, and it doesn't matter what it's pressurized to inside.
As long as it's inside of our atmosphere, man. As soon as it goes into outer space, which y'all claim there is,
what happened there, Riley? What happened?
Blew the top.
Why?
It sucked the top off of it. Is what it did.
Why did it blow the top?
Because it's the weakest
pressure
point.
Inside. No, well, because the pressure inside was so much. Yeah,
the pressure inside.
Right, the 14 psi point is right.
It had 14 psi inside it before the chamber was evacuated, and with nothing outside of it to counter that, it blew the lid off of it.
David, I retract my comment about 14 psi. You are right.
14.7 psi in a vacuum.
David,
that lid is not engineered to withstand 14.7 psi in a vacuum.
Curved. Stop speaking over me.
How many times do you need to hear that?
David, I retract my comment about the PSI not being very much. This clearly shows that it will explode in a vacuum.
My God, that is not engineered to withstand 14.7 psi in a vacuum.
That's not even like a solid piece.
You are retarded.
It's like a removable
You're
cap.
Absolutely retarded.
Oh, how impressive that it can take the cap off of something.
Curved
and
it
can pull the top off the chapstick. Wow.
David's right. Curved is wrong.
How much PSI can you exert with your hand when you're pulling chapstick caps off?
Can you introduce the guy that replaced Riley? We've got Mongo Poe in here.
It's all part of Nathan's brilliant plan.
Yeah, I don't know why you're all trolling him. He's just basically just demonstrated that if something is pressurized inside a vacuum, it exerts a pressure on the outside and explodes. So it's enough. The pressure differential.
Oh my God.
Do you think the ISS has a snap cap like a pill bottle?
No, but what I think, David,
if you open one of the hatches in outer space, it would be. If you open it outer space, it would be.
Of the same race I am.
David's
really
right, Curved.
And I'm talking about the human race.
Curved, David is right. The 14 psi is not a lot on Earth, but in space it'll blow up. He's right.
Why? Because a little pill bottle will blow its cap off of it.
No, because the aluminium tin can that they tell us it is not strong enough to withhold 14 psi when it's in a strong vacuum.
All right, show me the engineering calculations to back that up, Riley.
Well,
we know that it's made of aluminium. What more do you need to know?
How thick, how strong is the aluminium?
We know it's still inside our atmosphere.
How thick, how strong is the aluminium?
Well,
show me
we know that it's not particularly strong.
Aluminium's not strong. How do you know that? You said it's not strong enough, Riley.
It's aircraft grade
I
aluminum.
agree. Yeah,
quit talking out of your ass.
It's pronounced aluminum.
Talking out of your ass, Riley. Back this up.
David's right. It'll blow up in space.
No, you're both wrong, and you have no basis for that statement. That is absurd.
David is right. When you said it was the exact opposite,
Mongo Pro, stop it.
Curved. When you said
Pro, where's the engineering calculations to back that up? That it can't withstand the 14.7 psi.
When you criticize the tanker, for it being the opposite, I went to find something that was opposite, and I found that little thing inside a vacuum, and it exploded.
The ISS is not a plastic bottle with a snap cap, Riley.
No, it's practically a plane, isn't it? It's made of aluminium.
My God, it's not a plastic bottle with a snap cap.
No, but it is.
What happened was the top popped off.
Hang on,
explode.
And it has doors.
Freaking embarrassing.
Right,
it really is.
Anthony,
no, I'm with David.
I've got to interrupt you because you can't possibly for 1 second argue that they're not going to have the mathematics to back up the engineering that they say is up there. You're going to lose this argument. You know you are.
I'm not saying
that.
I agree with you on the principle that you've demonstrated, which you've demonstrated really well. I'm just going to get this in. You've demonstrated that the principle is sound, that if you have something that's pressurized in a vacuum, it exerts a strong force against that vacuum. Doesn't mean the vacuum is exerting any force, it's the PSI inside the capsule. Now, if you're going to then try and argue that they haven't got the maths to make that work based on that principle, you're just not going to win that. Never.
No, I agree. I'm not going to win against the maths, but I agree with David. Initially, I didn't agree with David, but now I do.
That's what it's inside our atmosphere.
We know you agree with
it has weight, so it has to be powered, okay? Whether it's powered by solar panels, whatever, it has to be powered.
Riley, the fact that you agree with somebody is really that's strong evidence that they're wrong.
Anyway, let's move it along. Yeah,
you got a track record.
We got
Spurs
it.
Is
got a track record, Riley.
See if Chemo's got anything decent to say. You got anything intelligent to say, Chemo? I mean, I know we're clutching at straws here, but give it a go, yeah?
Let's talk infinite bullets, Spursy.
Oh, infinite bullet. That's good.
All right, we can talk about how...
Let's talk about where Australia's at. Where's Australia at?
Under the upside down moon, David.
Well, why don't planes land on upside down?
Wait, is there anybody from Australia on here?
Did you know that, David?
Is there anybody from Australia around here?
Why don't planes land upside down?
Chemo's in Australia, David.
Chemo, you on here?
Yeah, he's on Australia.
Is anybody willing to drop for Lewis Hackett? He's trying to get on, apparently.
Yeah, I'll drop.
Fair enough. There's
no extra space on, man. You've been retching
up. No, I'll drop.
Not Lewis.
Fair enough, Grim. Nice to have you here. Yeah, there's a couple of open spaces if people want to join.
All right, I'll drop for Lewis.
Somebody already dropped for Lewis. Riley did.
We've been joined by Lewis Hackett. Very pleased to have you here, Lewis.
No, he's dropped out again, I think.
There you go. There he is.
All right. So, with the whole pressure thing with the ISS, I really wanted Riley to be here for it so I could go have a back and forth with him. But basically, like that train car, that demonstrates that we have a clear capability to engineer things to withstand the pressure differences created with a vacuum next to a container that's pressurized. Demonstrating that easily. We can easily do that. The fact that we can make vacuum chambers at all actually demonstrates that. So it should be no surprise that the ISS could be engineered if you assume, all right? If you don't think it's real, right? That's fine. You don't have to. But you should acknowledge that it's entirely possible for us to engineer things that are pressurized that could withstand a vacuum. That shouldn't even be a point of contention.
I agree, and Curve made that point. You know, that is absolutely correct. You can't say that the plastic bottle's the same as the engineering that goes into the ISS.
So what was the PSI on the inside of the rocket that went to the moon, huh?
I don't know, but they clearly engineered it enough.
So what is the PSI in zero gravity? Because this thing's not riding in zero gravity. You understand?
Sorry, before we get back on this merry-go-round. Sorry.
Before we, it doesn't matter.
Hold on. Oh God,
it's inside our atmosphere.
Before we get back on this merry-go-round, I just want to say hello to Gem Panda. That's all I want to do. It'll take 10 seconds if you just give him a chance to say hello.
Hi, mate.
All right.
Perfect.
So it doesn't matter what the gravity is, David, because how you arrive at the force is how much pressure there is inside compared to the outside. So it's the difference in pressure of the outside the container compared to inside the container. So there's a pressure difference with a balloon, depending, and that there's a difference in pressure if you have it in a vacuum, and there's a difference in pressure, a different difference in pressure if you have it with the same amount of air, not in a vacuum.
And there's a different amount of pressure the higher you go, right? The higher you go, there's different pressure.
So if you let it go, if you let it go and it's helium, that pressure, the pounds per square inch, the pounds per square inch increases as you go up. So when you're in space, if you David, why are you constantly trying to talk over me? I'm giving you an adequate explanation for what pounds per square inch is, how the force works, and how you can expect things to behave based on the amount of pressure there is. So what do you have to say? What do you have to say? Go, David.
Okay, the higher you go, right, the more the pressure, right?
Nope.
It depends. It depends on how much of the gas is inside the container.
Exactly, and so what we're talking about is enough.
That's a controllable variable. That is a very controllable variable. They design things with that in mind.
Depending on how many people are in there, right? And how much oxygen they need to breathe. That's where the pressure. Sure. That's why you would need the pressure, right? For a human person to be able to live in.
So I'm really enjoying this live stream. I don't know about you guys in the audience, but very amusing from this position. Yes, we have about 30 minutes left. So if there is another gap that opens up, feel free to join by clicking on the link in the info box below this video. If you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. If you do join the chat to express your views on the shape of the Earth, there are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. A massive thank you to everybody who has clicked that share button or smashed the super share, as Shill Scanner would say. That's a lot of S's. Yeah, thank you very much, as widening the audience widens the likelihood of a more diverse panel. So massive thanks to all of you who share this show each time it goes live. Please click that share button if you've not done so already. And once again, if you are new to this channel or you are one of the 50% watching who have not subscribed, click that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
It's a game of picking the lightest materials.
Which is probably aluminum.
What's the problem with aluminum?
I have no problem with aluminum.
What's the issue with weight, David? Weight.
What I'm saying is this thing's inside our atmosphere. It's not flying in outer space. Okay.
Oh my God.
Why do you think that?
Wow.
Because it's got pounds per square inch on the outside of it to keep it. It has to be pressurized for somebody to be inside of it.
Well, we can engineer things. We can engineer things to hold pressures.
A minute ago, y'all were saying that once it goes in,
David, we can engineer things that can withstand pressures much greater than 1 atmosphere.
Such as submarines.
A bike tire,
because they can handle
about
2
60
atmospheres.
psi or something like that.
We already understand all that. It's inside of our atmosphere. It's inside of our atmosphere. Okay.
Like the amount of pressure, they have to engineer for in space is not that much. Sorry, Jeremy.
Is it inside of our atmosphere?
No.
Is it inside the atmosphere of the United States of the world?
You were talking about the pressure differential, weren't you?
Am I wrong? But isn't that how you make a vacuum? Is by creating 2 variant pressures? Just like you have 2 pressures, and that's how you create the vacuum.
It's either sucking or pushing. One of the 2. That's not. It's from the outside or the inside. Okay.
Right, and inside you've got a pressure of it's I don't know, about 14 psi, and outside you've got a pressure of nothing, haven't you? So you've got a difference in pressure of 14 0.7 psi.
But it's saying that it has 15 pounds of pressure per square inch.
When I inflate my tire to 33 psi, that's a greater pressure differential, right? So this isn't, some massive engineering challenge.
So what is the
this amount of pressure with a piece of rubber?
What is the pressure that a human
less than a centimeter thick?
What pressure does it have to be inside of that thing for a human being to live in it? I didn't ever say it was 15 pounds per square inch.
But it is pressurized to Earth atmosphere pressure.
Yeah, it's not, and that's a very low square inch. It's a low pressure, David. Like it's not like we engineer things for much, much, much more extreme pressure differences.
Such as Pepsi cans, which are 30 psi.
We just don't have to survive in them. It's like it's not a. This isn't a. What is your?
Yeah.
What's the issue?
The pressure inside the Pepsi can withhold, double the pressure of the atmosphere around it.
How does it?
15 psi. It's double right there. There's a 15 psi pressure differential in a Pepsi can.
You got to understand. Y'all are the one that brought this up. I have not studied. I studied.
It's okay, David. It's okay. It's all right.
If I had to guess, it's engine powered. Okay.
It's okay to be wrong.
It's inside of our atmosphere for one, because it's got atmospheric pressure on it.
The thermosphere is sparse.
The atmosphere is manufactured.
If it's inside of our atmosphere, there's friction involved. Okay.
Jerry, how much, David? Have you calculated it? How many particles? Come on.
I don't know it.
Yeah, right. Then quit asserting it.
Okay. I'm gonna study up a little bit on this.
You're wrong, David. Everything knows.
I hope you do study up on this. I hope you do.
We can start with.
We know what's inside our atmosphere is the point I'm making.
No, you know nothing.
Well, I mean, we can argue about that if you want, but that's one of them things that we can't actually prove here, sitting on the internet talking to each other.
That's right. So go on to the next subject.
Chemo, why is the Earth flat?
I'd like to, David. Do you consent? Do you concede the points?
I don't concede anything. I know that
needing to be ripped apart. Like, do you understand? Theoretically, it's not even a big deal to engineer something that humans could survive.
Man, for you to stand inside of it, it's 30 pounds per square inch is what it comes right off the ISS information on it, man.
14.7.
Okay.
So it's not. So you concede that it's not an issue. It's not a tremendous engineering feat. A lot of people could do it even without working for NASA.
How much does the ISS weigh? Nobody's answered that question. How much does this dude weigh?
Why does it matter?
Hey,
you won't be able to because it's inside of our atmosphere, man.
If I say to you,
the difference in pressure is all that matters. So if it has the proper atmosphere for humans to live here on Earth, you could have that same difference in pressure here inside of the atmosphere.
And you have to have an engine to run that thing, man. You have to have an engine to run that pressurized system. Okay, you have to have power to run that.
We have
power.
Yeah, we have engines.
We don't have power?
It's solar powered, and then you have to carry the oxygen up there. You have to pressurize the oxygen that you're carrying.
Yeah, that's not a big deal either. We can do all those things too. I don't see what the big deal is.
How much does one oxygen tank weigh? How much? How long would it take?
Can I say something, please, guys?
This is an absolute
please, can I say something, please? Please.
Man, don't you?
Okay, David.
Go ahead.
You want to know how much it weighs? It weighs 450 tons. And now that I've answered you, please tell me how much the moon weighs.
450 tons. So
now tell me how much does the moon weigh?
450 tons.
Moon is much heavier than the ISS.
Nobody believes that. 450 tons.
450 tons.
All that time you've been asking.
That tank car.
You've been asking, and somebody gives it to you, and then you say you don't believe him. Why?
And I want him to tell me how much the moon weighs.
That tank car weighs 450 tons, man.
Has anyone noticed the pattern here?
Do you understand that?
Do
you understand that? How much?
I was going to say, I want to introduce Spurs Chemo, so I'm going to turn you guys down just till I get the mic, and you guys all realise that you can't be heard for a second. So we've been joined by Spurs Chemo, who normally joins at the end, so we don't normally get to hear from him. How you doing, Spurs? Good to have you here.
Oh, Spurs joined.
Yes, everything's great. Good.
Excellent. Good to have you here, my friend.
Spurs joined like half an hour ago when.
Yeah, it's a shame being.
When y'all were getting beat up, y'all needed to come in there.
Spurs, are you in Australia? If it's okay for me to ask.
Australia. How do you know Australia exists?
Well, I'm asking you if you're there.
What a relevant question.
Derba.
I want a T-shirt. Where's Australia at?
Why don't you ask Marcus that question, Spurs?
We talked to a guy from Australia. Didn't know where he was at.
He doesn't know.
Didn't know where he was at. What does that?
He doesn't know his directions. He knows he's in.
Yeah, because they got those kids brainwashed over that compasses don't work.
They got you brainwashed in Dallas, David.
I understand.
Curve, not everything David says needs a response.
None of it needs a response.
No. Well,
so
I've been to New Zealand.
You got a bit. A truck driver take y'all on pretty good.
Yo, David, how much does the moon weigh again?
Don't know that. I know that the ISS weighs as much as a tank car, though.
All right, so Spurs.
Yeah, I think it's really impressive that we were able to engineer something that can do so much. It weighs the same as that tank car, which does something so simple.
That's running off solar powered lenses, right?
Panels.
Exactly.
Do you
Panels
know
or whatever.
You know how solar power works? You just said lenses, solar lenses, really?
Panel, whatever. Go ahead.
Whatever. I mean, these details matter. Wouldn't you agree?
It goes through the glass on top of it would be the lens that's sitting on top of the panel, man. But go ahead.
What does the lens do?
What's new, Spurs?
What's the function of the lens?
It's just a clear lens on there to keep it from getting dirty.
Oh, cool.
The lens is like a maid, and it cleans it,
get
polishes
Spurs
it.
involved to change it up.
Sorry.
I'm sorry that first people with common sense can take y'all on. That's the way it is.
David, why don't you debate Spurs?
Guys, I think you'd like to see Spurs' laser example. You should show them about Spurs.
Okay, what's that? What's the topic? Sorry.
Remember your laser.
Dude, you constantly don't know what's going on.
Pay attention.
Because you remember you said you won a lot of debates with this point.
Well, let's talk about the sun. The sun being so close. In reality, in your model, it looks.
Okay.
It does actually look many miles away in your model.
Okay.
I agree, but in reality, that's not what happens.
So how do you determine that?
So we have evidence for it. We have proof. We've seen
proof.
We've seen sunspots. You couldn't explain that.
How big?
I've explained it to you personally multiple times.
That doesn't make any sense. A light source that far away making that sunspot.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so any curved surface will create a spot.
Demonstrate a light.
Okay, so when you drive down the highway. When you drive down, I'm about to do it right now. When you drive down the highway, there are hot spots that are created on the windshield of the curved surface of the car, on the paint if it's shiny, and on the windshield. There are multiple hot spots on the curved surfaces of the car. Do you agree? Do you agree that hot spots exist on curved surfaces, and this example being cars?
Not from those distances.
Wow, well, if you won't be reasonable, then I can't convince you of anything.
Well, the distance is not to scale, Lewis.
It doesn't matter. The whole point is that curved surfaces.
Show me a light source that is that far away, which will create a hot spot.
Because he's telling you that you see the hot spot of the sun on the car.
The distance doesn't matter. I'm demonstrating that a curved surface will create a hot spot for an observer, and you could have two different observers, and they could point. They're both going to see a hot spot.
On a flat surface.
Are you going to?
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm trying to tell you.
Lewis, I've never seen a curved cloud. Show me a curved cloud.
You don't need to.
And then we can talk about that.
Yeah,
I've never seen a cloud curved.
When you have a curved surface,
I've never seen a perfectly straight cloud.
In your world, the water is curved, the clouds are curved, the stars are curved, the land is curved. But you cannot show any of this. So when we see a hot
when you're up in the air, when you're up that high in the air,
and the clouds are flat,
Lewis, is what creates the hot spot over the curved surface.
Yeah, but it's not over the curved surface. It's over the flat
surface is not going to give you a spotlight in the same way. So
you understand
if you have
that the clouds
a
don't curve,
you have two different people, it's important because that hot spot is a function of where the observer is.
All right, if you want me to agree with what you're saying, can you show me a curve?
Why are you doing this? I'm trying to give you an answer.
No, I want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I want you to show me a curved cloud.
I'm not talking about clouds.
Well, that's where the hotspots are, on the clouds.
No, the hotspots exist.
Yes, yes. Don't tell me no. Do I have to show you a video?
Surface of the Earth, which
should we watch a video, Lewis, of a hotspot on a cloud?
Compare relative to the sun.
Do we have to watch a video of a hotspot on a cloud, Lewis?
The atmosphere is curved.
Yeah, but I want you to answer my questions directly. Do we have to watch a video, or have you seen?
And the surface of curved objects gives a hotspot
on the cloud?
Are you going to show? You're going to show a reflection.
Okay, curved. So your friend here, he thinks that you have curved clouds.
No, I never mentioned.
I can't believe he's saying that we have.
Why do you put words in my mouth? I'm trying to give you an answer. You interrupt me constantly to tell me that it's not adequate. Okay, here is the principle of what causes hotspots to exist.
And the clouds do not curve.
Surface. Clouds are in the atmosphere.
Not on the cloud.
It's not
on the cloud.
The stratification.
The hotspot is
Spurs.
The hotspot is on the cloud.
Curved, can you let me get through this, please?
Not on the cloud.
Yes, the stratification of our atmosphere, the stratosphere, is curved. Yes or no?
Jesus.
Well, let's ask the people in the chat if they think
the stratosphere is curved. Yes or no?
One.
The stratosphere is curved. Yes or no?
No, we're talking about clouds.
The stratosphere, which clouds exist in, is curved. Yes or no?
Well, show me some curved clouds.
Do clouds form in layers depending on the preponderance of water molecules in the air?
Yes, but you keep saying this, but I want to see it.
Those layers are curved.
I've seen with my own eyes.
Those layers are curved.
Saying that the clouds are flat.
Are those layers that clouds form in curved?
I don't see any curvature now.
Well, then I can't help you.
Yeah. No, because you don't have any answers, Lewis. You don't know anything about.
I'm giving you lots of answers, but you don't look at the world and accept it for what it is.
Anything. So
here's the simple answer.
I need somebody
with that curved
intellect and intelligence. I don't know where Jeremy went.
On light sources.
About the close,
why do you do this? Why do you do this?
Ran away
because he realized talk over everybody. Just stop talking.
It's a very difficult question to answer. I understand. I get it.
No, you don't.
How do you have a hotspot on the clouds
on a curved surface
with the sun so far away?
Because it's curved.
Because it's impossible. Well, demonstrate this for us.
Clouds are fluffy. That's like the definition of curved.
Yeah, demonstrate this. Let's see this.
Show me a light source. Create hotspots for the observer, and those hotspots are different for each and every individual observer because they're in different locations. Just like a rainbow is in a slightly different location for everybody looking at it.
To get a second opinion, Lewis. I'm sorry.
Okay, great.
I don't think it'll help though. You've got second, third, fourth, fifth opinions. So you've done many. You've been told.
First, you told me that clouds curve, and I can't believe this.
I don't care what you believe. I'm just telling you.
We've seen demonstrations of this, the sun being so
creating
close.
Hotspots? You've seen the sun create hotspots, right?
Well, look, let Cathexis have a go at this because I've never seen clouds curve.
Spurs.
Joined by
the sun hotspots, right?
Very pleased to have you here, Cathexis.
Hello.
Hello.
I'll be louder in a moment. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great.
So do hotspots exist on the Earth? And they seem to be coming from the sun, right?
But I'm not talking about those hotspots. We're talking about the ones we see on top of the clouds.
Sure you are.
What would be the difference?
No, I'm talking about the ones in the clouds, Lewis.
Yeah, hotspots on the Earth. When the clouds are on the Earth.
On the Earth, Lewis. High in the sky.
I did share a picture of
the clouds are on the Earth, right?
The clouds between on the ground and in the sky, Lewis.
Well, that's the atmosphere. The atmosphere is part of the Earth.
Can we see a reflection?
The ground is not part of the clouds, Lewis.
Okay, fine. The atmosphere isn't part of the Earth. Fine. I'll play your game.
You see how we do the border?
A reflection on a cloud.
Reality.
Sure.
What you're really looking at is
there are hotspots on the clouds.
Sun.
Why are you doing that, Lewis? What hotspots? And why are we even calling them hotspots? They're reflections.
Oh, so now ballers disagree. Again, that's your opinion. I need a third opinion. Sorry, Kurt. I don't buy that.
And again, I'd like to see one of these reflections on a
cloud.
I'm
sorry, you called it reflection, and he's calling it hotspot. So we have a problem here.
Well, it's not a problem. Also, there are hot spots on the clouds, and it's not really that it's a hot spot. It's that an observer gets a focused amount of light relative to the other parts of the light.
Let Cathexis. I'm going to stop for a minute and
Well, you should stop a lot sooner for me, but you know, cathexis.
Well, I wanted to come in and let you know about the hot spot of the coffee stain that you have on your shirt.
I know.
Everybody, I want to do.
I love it.
I've actually, and it's stretched out. I actually created a PayPal fund for Lewis, and it's basically everybody put hashtag Lewis buy new shirts, and then
don't you worry.
Then we can help.
That was good though.
We'll start a Patreon and everything.
Ding ding ding.
As long as you give me that money for the Patreon, no problem.
Dang dang knockout, motherfuckers.
Ding ding knockout, flat Earth baby.
So the hot spots on the clouds. The hot spots on the clouds. I mean, that guy really doesn't like me. It's really funny. I don't know what happened. We used to get along all right.
Here just to mess with you.
There are hot spots on the clouds, and it's not that there's a difference in the amount of light focused on that area. It's that relative to you, there's a preponderance of light hitting your eye that's different from all of the other parts on the cloud. Just like
this
on
wouldn't
the
happen with
just like when you look at a vehicle, there is a hot spot on the vehicle.
Well, you got to remember, Lewis, the sun's traveling 1,000 miles an hour.
Oh, damn, that's fast as hell, isn't it?
None of that motion, David, is a problem.
Well, that's
just like when you're traveling down the road and you see a car move past you, that hot spot changes.
Yes, Lewis, you're failing to understand. It's all the problem. If you're moving to create all this, what's happening with the sun so far away, this wouldn't happen. 93 million miles away, we would not get this effect.
Yeah,
why
you would.
not?
We would expect a different effect.
What effect, and why wouldn't you?
Explain yourself.
Straight that we can demonstrate that. Absolutely, we've got videos. We can go through all the videos if you have the time.
What can you demonstrate? You haven't said anything yet.
And who's the let's and us? Who's the us in this?
Of community, of course.
Oh, you say it a lot though. We never get a lot of evidence though from you.
All right. So what can you demonstrate? And
well, that's the problem with the borders. They just talk, and show us cartoons, show us animations, show us CGI, and say we don't get it. We don't get your cartoons.
Give that kind of reflection of the sunlight on the clouds.
Understand your cartoons.
We've been joined by not a space agent. Oh no, we haven't. Sorry, guys.
Oh, and he's gone.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So what can you demonstrate? I mean, you said that you wouldn't get a hot spot if the sun was that far away. Well, like how do you know that? Because there's no problem for me.
Because you can take any light and put it near the wall.
Well, the wall is flat.
The light further away and see what happens.
The wall is flat.
So is the Earth.
No, it's not.
And
like I just said, neither are the clouds.
So no, that's cleared that up because I've showed you the scale of your model, and it would be impossible.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the scale.
Can we see your model?
Show us the laser, the giant laser.
Yes, please. I want to hear laser.
Yeah, get that picture up, Ben, if you want to speak about that. Get with the horizon.
Yeah. Well, it's your picture. I don't have it.
No, it wasn't my picture. It was your picture.
Oh, it wasn't.
With the beach and the
water. No, I'm talking about your Yeah. Oh, you want that Toronto picture? Okay, and then you'll get your laser picture. Okay.
Well, the laser will work over any land, any place, anywhere. We're talking about the line of sight. That was the key.
Yeah,
should have been more specific and spoke about the line of sight.
Yeah, let's talk about the line of sight. Let's do that.
There's a good chance for you to teach everybody with that diagram you had. You really should show it up so people can follow along at home.
So should we all click on Alex? Is that what's happening here?
No, I just wanted to see the laser picture again.
Right. So all I'm asking here is if the photographer or the camera guy follows his line of sight continuously beyond that horizon, will his line of sight, end up in space, or will he find more land?
If the path of travel, if a photographer's path of travel is equal to his line of sight, he would end up in space. He would end up in space. Is that what you're going for?
Well, it doesn't matter. I've got questions either way.
Oh, well, whatever. Then let's back up and go back to before what I said, because I was assuming that's where you were going.
Well, no, it's either side or either way. Because you can't have it both ways. We're going to prove there's either curvature or there is no curvature.
Well, there is curvature.
In this picture.
There is absolutely curvature. If you
You're
follow a
looking at it right
tangent line, if you follow a tangent line off of a sphere, that tangent diverges from the sphere because the surface of the sphere is changing and the tangent is not changing.
All I'm interested in is
being right.
Big shout out to Shield Scanner for hitting that super chat. Thanks a million.
The photographer, his line of sight, if he was to continue it forward, would he find more land or would he continue into space?
He'd go into space.
He'd continue into space.
If he followed his line of sight, absolutely.
and that's actually a good debunk for the flat Earth Spurs.
Okay, so hold on.
Was taking it nice, you would see stars on the horizon.
Whoa.
It's also why you see the sun rising at the horizon.
Don't fall.
So from that instance, from that horizon point there, everything beyond that horizon is down, yes?
Sure.
Because you said if I continue forward with the line of sight,
down relative to the line of sight, yeah.
The ground is usually below your eyes.
He can't play like this. He doesn't know how to do this now.
It's okay.
Then Cliff's getting afraid. I see.
It'll come out.
You don't know invisible gravity math.
David, tell me what is obscuring the bottom of that building?
Well, yeah.
We went through this. We got y'all the other day. Quit showing this phony picture.
You never do, David.
Y'all pull this phony picture out when you ain't got nothing else.
Yeah.
You pull this one phony.
Spurs, the only down is relative to that line of sight. The elevation remains the same.
No. We're talking about forward curved, forward. That horizon point.
Yeah.
You've told me that everything beyond that horizon point is down.
Down from the line of sight, Spurs. If you travel from where the photographer is to the city across the lake, the boat is going to remain at water level, all the way over until it gets to the other side. And it will be
curved. That wouldn't be following the line of sight. Curved. That would not be following the line of sight.
I didn't say it was.
Confused. Right. This is the problem we have. I bring confusion to the borders because now you're
we're not confused.
amongst yourselves, which is the correct scenario and how to answer.
We're not
confused. Spurs. I am not confused.
I have solutions for both sides. Of course,
the boat is only down relative to the line of
Curve
sight.
knows where this is going, and he wants to make sure that Lewis doesn't mess this up.
Just because Curved is angry and talks with frustration in his voice doesn't mean
schooling me. You're schooling
Lewis at all.
Correct things. That's what it looks like here.
No,
I'm sorry. That's what it looks like to that building.
Explaining the same thing to you for the 384th time, Spurs.
As you can see,
that with the wind turbines out in the water, man, they were
how
the
the
same
ball
size.
Earth works, Curved. Can't you see? Which is why you keep interrupting Lewis, because you obviously haven't.
Well, you're interrupting me too, Spurs, but I don't. It's fine.
Everybody.
Look,
you obviously don't want Lewis to look like
follow the tangent line. If you follow the tangent line, the line of sight, it would go off into space. If you could follow it as a photographer, if you could levitate up off the ground and go off towards the line of sight, you'd be in space.
Lewis has got it curved, you see?
Hey, Spurs.
So what's the problem? Spurs,
there's a big clue here in this picture. Notice how the line of sight lines up with about 600 foot above.
How does that sound again, Lewis? Lewis, do that sound again.
So, Spurs, what is the issue? Spurs, what is the issue?
Tell us what it sounds like when you go into outer space against Lewis, please.
Spurs is fake. He thinks he has a point.
David, do you know how much the moon weighs?
He's making a mockery of himself in flat Earth.
But Spurs, again, I know I just said this earlier, but I think it's actually a good point. I never really thought. If the Earth's flat and we can keep seeing land by zooming in more and more, but the atmosphere is getting in the way, then how can we see stars on the horizon?
And the sun.
That's so true.
And why is the line of sight 600 foot above
David.
the building?
Why is it only choosing to obscure the bottom of the building and not the top of the building?
Oh, another ding.
Why is the line of sight when you're looking down, Spurs, still looking up at 600 foot above the bottom of the building?
Oh, another ding.
All I'm interested in is if
how many times. I mean, seriously, these are very simple things that a middle schooler could get, but not flat earthers.
Yeah, man.
Did you graduate middle
Gave me
school?
a new great argument as well. Thanks, Spurs. Good job.
We knocked them out a long time ago. Let them go on. Try to
So,
get something
David,
here
what
at
is
the end.
obscuring the bottom of that building?
It's fishing line.
Let me tell you something. You went out there to the middle.
Baby. That's how we get marlins, boy. Woo!
Anything on the lake, you got to remember the water's reflecting, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, so you think
I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's like a mirror. It's like looking over a mirror.
Yeah, if you see a reflection, you don't ever see a reflection.
Have you ever looked in a pond and just looked over and see your face in the water? That's just the way you're looking at that.
Sounds like you're on the ropes, David.
Beneath my face. So if that was the case with that building, I would be able to see the reflection because it'd be directly below the building, and I'm not at the building. I'm on the other side.
Next time you're looking into the lake, David, jump in.
If you walked out.
I feel like I should say a public apology to anybody who I have implied should kill themselves or I have explicitly told to kill themselves. That was a line that I should not have crossed. I'm sorry. And if you were here, I would apologize to you. But most of these people I cannot contact for arguably good reason. So,
no, I just meant jump in so you wake up. I just want you to jump in so you wake up. It's cold. Water's cold. It'll wake you up. Boom.
Yeah.
You might wake up and see the globe.
Also,
the spinning ball.
I can't wait to see what videos people make about me next, because that's one of the things people like to do when they get your image, and
do that spaceship sound again.
There you go, Lewis.
Which one? That wasn't a spaceship sound. That was just like going
to space.
Focus, travel in a straight line noise. That was all that was. That
Lewis,
was a laser focus noise. What's that?
Check the chat.
Check the chat. 5 minutes or
no? Look for the arsonist.
Yo, Shill. Is that the real Lisa?
He accepts your apology.
It is the
Flow
real
birth,
Lisa.
baby.
Look for all the arson, dude. Find the arson.
Find the arson. I accept. Apology accepted, Lewis. Thank you. Respect. You spelled it a little bit wrong, but yeah.
I think you meant it.
Yeah, I think you meant it too. And I am sorry. That's nobody should say that. That's a line people shouldn't cross.
I agree.
Get out your laser, Spurs. Let's see your laser.
We should not want to kill each other or each other to die over the shape of the earth. That is just taking it way too far.
No, not over the shape of the earth.
Lewis, can you show me a satellite?
Which one?
Can you show us your diagrams first? People need to learn.
Yeah, come on, man.
Converted anybody
want to show us. Come on. You showed us earlier. Remember your laser question?
Obviously, you're not going to show us one. But I'm just saying this is the point why we don't believe in things like space, because you're unable to produce anything.
Well, have you seen the ISS live stream? It's basically up all the time.
Is it floating in space, Lewis? Is it floating?
It's falling around the Earth. It's been given enough tangent velocity to match the acceleration gravity puts on it, resulting in a constant orbit.
At a constant height, right?
No, not necessarily. There's apogee and perigee. With apogee is the maximum the apoapsis refers to the maximum distance from the planet it will be in its orbit, and the periapsis refers to the minimum distance it will be at compared to the planet.
How many feet difference is that?
That depends on the orbit.
17.
So it's not.
Why are you saying 17? It could be any number. There's an infinite.
And with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you, first and foremost, to the live audience, with myself off mute, and of course, a massive thank you to the panel for joining us on this live debate. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and on the next one, super chat, as Shilscanner did. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all on the next video.
Can I swear now?
I don't know. It depends.
Wait till Nathan's gone.